Lenin by John Haney, World Leaders Past and Present Series, book review. So this is part of my review of the World Leaders Past and Present series. I've got a video explaining what this series is, which I will link to down below, but basically it's a series of biographies of famous world leaders, which is written for a younger audience, about junior high school level, I think. I was reading these when I was in Japan just because I had nothing else to read, or very little other histories to read. So yeah, Lenin. Lenin is a controversial figure, and it's very hard to get a handle on, really, whether he was a good guy or a bad guy. To put my biases forward, I'm on the left. I've considered myself a socialist, although I've considered myself more on the decentralized, more democratic wing of the socialist movement, the socialist ideology. So even on the left, it's very difficult to figure out whether Lenin was a positive figure or a negative figure. I mean, nobody in their right mind likes Stalin, of course. But there are some historians on the left who say, you know, Lenin and Trotsky were all right. It's just Stalin where everything went bad. But then there are other people who are on the left who say, you know, Lenin was very brutal in the way he put down opposition. Even Lenin's accused of even brutally putting down other opposition on the left. And then there's a whole larger political debate. Conservatives really hate Lenin, so it gets to write a biography of Lenin, which makes everyone happy, is a little bit difficult. I should state I am no expert on this. I like history, but I'm more of a hobbyist than an expert. So I quite often get confused on who Lenin really was, because it really does seem to depend who you've talked to last, or which book you've read last. Again, even with books sympathetic to the left. So, all that being said, I thought this book did a good job. And again, I'm no expert, but it seemed to be pretty fair. The book very clearly explains who Lenin was and what his goals were. And it shows the many faults of both the Tsarist regime and the Kerensky government that preceded Lenin. So it's not one of these books that says everything was wonderful before Lenin came along. It very clearly shows that the preceding regimes had a lot of faults. However, the book also portrays Lenin as a bit of a bully and an autocrat, even before the Russian Revolution. So, it's not like he's one of these guys who got corrupted by power. Even before the Russian Revolution, he's showing bullying tendencies and autocratic tendencies just in the politicking and arguing within his own party. The book includes a quote from historian Bertram D. Wolfe, who, quote, gives an account of a conversation between Axelrod and a member of the International Socialist Bureau, which was the Second International's coordinating body, that captures the essence of the gulf that separated Lenin from all social democrats, excepting his own followers. The official asked, "Do you mean to say that all these splits and quarrels are the work of one man? But how can one man be so effective and so dangerous?" Axelrod replied, "Because there is not another man who for 24 hours of the day is taken up with the revolution, and who has no other thoughts but thoughts of the revolution, and who even in his sleep dreams of nothing but revolution. Just try and handle such a fellow." End quote. Now, this book does not gloss over the political violence that Lenin and the Bolsheviks committed once they were in power. And yet at the same time, it does try and put things in perspective. For example, when writing about the Red Terror, the author states that, quote, "It is estimated that by October 1922, when it was replaced by the State Political Administration, GPU, the Cheka had killed approximately 140,000 people by execution, and another 140,000 while putting down uprisings. Many historians have analyzed the Red Terror in great detail, while failing to deal with its corollary, the White Terror. Some perspective on this troubled issue may perhaps be gained from the following single fact. In Finland, which proclaimed independence from Russia in July 1917, white forces under Carl Gustaf von Mannerheim, a former lieutenant general in the Imperial Army, killed almost 100,000 workers, or roughly 25% of the entire Finnish proletariat, in just 2 months, April and May, in 1918. At the end of this book, I think the author does a good job of summing up the ambivalence surrounding Lenin's legacy. I'm going to quote again from the book. Quote, "Many historians have claimed that Leninism and Stalinism were essentially the same, or at least that Stalinism can be viewed as a logical development of Leninism, whereas others, including many non-leftists, have rejected the idea. Lenin was undoubtedly one of the greatest leaders, most effective revolutionaries, and most powerful minds of his time. His ultimate aim was the realization of a true producer's democracy, an egalitarian social-economic order promising real social harmony. As he himself stressed repeatedly, the worldwide realization of the kind of society that was at the heart of his vision would mean an end to war and an end to the exploitation of man by man. Men have seized power for worse ends than this." End quote.